Welcome to another episode of B-Cars Garage, the most average content on YouTube. Now today we're here to talk about the new performance stats of the Corvette ZR1. And to no one's surprise, they are absolutely astonishing. That is, of course, unless you are a Ford lover, specifically the Ford GTD. Now it's pretty easy to start this off because the ZR1 is a Corvette, and since the absolute dawn of car everything, the Mustang, when it debuted in 1964, has been compared to the Corvette forever. And I want to say that it's kind of just different now. And you know what? I don't think it was ever comparable, but for some crazy reason, Chevy guys and girls are just as guilty as the Ford ones. Everybody likes to go back and forth with these two vehicles, and I really don't get it. And although it's easy to sit back and say, well, why? They're very comparable. Well, I think you're kind of wrong, because the Corvette has always been more of a true sports car than the Mustang ever has been. And right now, the Ford GTD, which by all accounts is kind of a factory race car, I still don't think it's in the same class as the especially new mid-engine Corvette C8. We can just start with the most obvious things. The ZR1 has 1,064 horsepower versus the Mustang's measly, in comparison, 825. But just in case math is not your strong point, yeah, that's almost 250 horsepower, which is a lot. So we can start with the numbers. So the new, and supposedly this is brought to us by GM on a non-prep surface, not on actual drag radials or slicks, the ZR1 clicked off a 9.6 second quarter mile at 150 miles an hour. And for all you diehard drag racer guys and girls out there, and I know there's a lot of you, we know that anything with 1,000 horsepower is pretty much an automatic recipe for a 9-second quarter mile. So this is no surprise to any of us. Click that up with the lightweight of the ZR1 and also, a very fast shifting transmission. We know this is going to be a 9-second car. I figured this was a mid to high 9-second car all day long. And we know that with turbos and the way tuners are, when someone cracks that ECU, I bet you're going to see an 8-second ZR1 very quick. However, I have noticed a lot of comments out there on all the other videos and just everything in general I'm seeing online that this is a fake car, it's a ghost car, there's no release date, there's no nothing. I can tell you with absolute certainty this car is 1,000,000% going to happen, and probably sooner than most people think. The 670 horsepower Z06 started kind of in the mid 140s, 150s for MSRP. People were paying way above when they first came out. I expect the exact same thing for this ZR1, especially if they actually keep production low. I could probably see this thing. I bet you someone out there is going to pay $300,000 for this car. I would put money on that. Someone out there is going to pay $300K for this car. And for those of you who don't really think that that's going to happen, I highly disagree, because the GTD Mustang, and this is the only comparison I'm going to make to the Mustang, is basically a $325,000 car is what Ford's telling us right now. It's going to be limited production, all those things to make it, exclusive, expensive, whatnot. The ZR1 is going to be a very expensive car when it comes out. There is no doubt of that. And in that respect, it is still going to be an absolute bargain in the performance section that it's in. The exact same thing as a regular C8 Corvette was versus everything else that makes the same power and numbers and that price class. The same way that the Z06 was, and so on and so forth. This is going to be no different. So the Revuelto is almost $1 million car. And you know what? If you ask anybody that has ever ordered any kind of Lambo, you could probably even find these online. You add a touch of carbon fiber here, special stitching there, boom, $1 million+ car like nothing. And although I may have started this out with the hate I have towards the comparison with the Corvette and the Mustang, let me tell you why. Well, it's very straightforward. So this really heated up in the 90s, late 90s, even early 2000s with the Cobra Mustang, because the Cobra was basically faster and better performing than the C5 Corvette at the time. So it made 390 horsepower. The C5 Z06 made 405. Quarter mile times were very similar. However, obviously, the supercharged Mustang responded to mods significantly better because it already had a blower on it. And there is way more to unpack there. I'm just not getting into it. But the bottom line is that the direct comparison to the Mustang is the Camaro. Yes, we know it's not on sale anymore. I'd also like to think that sometime in the next handful of years, Chevy will come back to their senses and we will see another Camaro. There's been some leaks online about certain things about it. Nothing concrete, no hardcore evidence. But I won't be surprised at all if it actually does happen. And running back to the GTD versus Z06 as well. Everyone's calling out the Z06. Well, what's its ring time? What's the racetrack time? They haven't done it yet. And you know what? I bet you Chevy's been saving that on purpose because they knew the ZR1 was coming out. So why on earth are you going to ship the car to Germany, hit the Nordschiff, and run the car and all the resources and time when you know that you are making a car that is going to obliterate that time? So the Mustang GTD ran a 6:57, fastest North American car ever to come out of production. And it's a wicked time, really. And it should be. 825 horsepower, all the specs that the GTD has. It's a great car. But mark my words, when the ZR1 comes out, you will see it run the ring. And I don't think it's going to beat it by a lot because the faster you go, the faster you need to be to really eclipse time. We see this, the best example in Formula One, where so many of those races, cars are separated by tenths or even hundreds and thousands of a second. You will see the ZR1, my prediction, if it ran the ring, probably close, I'm going to say 5 to 8 seconds faster than the GTD. And a lot of that is going to be straight line speed with the extra performance coming from the 1,064 horsepower, which again is almost 250 more than the Mustang. And just to quickly address everybody that's out there, be like, oh, it's still a Corvette, it's this and that. I think the thing that everyone really gets upset about is the fact that the C8, as a platform in general, has really made us question as enthusiasts, why are we paying $500, $600, $800+ for a mid or rear engine supercar when we could pay $100,000 for one? Brand new, with significantly better warranty, might I add. Really all it comes down to, the only thing you can say other than it's more special and it's exotic, and those are all very valid talking points. They're very true. You know, the Ferraris sound great. Oh, but so does the Z06. So now we can't even use that as a problem or an excuse. It kind of sounds the same. There's people that say it sounds better than the 458. I don't think so. But I guess we could say that if you like driving expensive stuff, just to say you have expensive stuff, then something with a Ferrari or a Lambo badge is probably the car for you. But if you want a absolute ripper performer of a car at a bargain price, pretty sure the C8 Corvette, no matter what the spec is, base right up to Z06 and now ZR1 and supposedly eventually the Zora, that might be the car for you.